Hey guys, we are going to talk today about Mesopotamia. It's one of the early river civilizations that we covered on the sheet a couple days ago. This is not ideal. This is not exactly how I like to hold class, but it's how we're going to get through today and the rest of next week. So you will see in Google Classroom this video that's going to be attached to a class assignment. You will also see a Google Slides like you have in front of you right here on my screen. And you will have to go through, and as you watch the video, as I talk, as I go through like the slides, you will have to come over here. You will drag over these boxes into the correct areas of where they're supposed to go. And then it will save that information. And then when you are done with everything, you will submit this assignment. Okay. So, like for example, up here, this is Asia Minor. We will get there later. You would just click that. You would leave Asia Minor there, and then you would leave it, and that's it. This would be Egypt. You would drag down Egypt down into this category. That's where Egypt is, and you would just leave it. Okay. And then the other things that you would need to do here, you need to fill in this key down at the bottom with the correct color of where it is. So that's also very easy. You will go into the fill category. If I can figure out where that's at. Oh, you will click the box. You will hit this box up here, right? So Fertile Crescent, let me show you. Click the box. There is a little paint tool up here, and you will fill it the color of the Fertile Crescent. So the Fertile Crescent is that green color. See that? So that's where you would do with that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I will go through all of this with you guys, and then I want you can either do it as we go along with the video and just pause the video every time I talk about something and drag it over, or you can go back through and do it after. All right, this is going to be very simple. This is what we will cover for today because Mesopotamia is going to be that next area that we cover in social studies. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll start off with the areas of water that surround the area known as Mesopotamia. So first of all, Mesopotamia is in Southwest Asia, okay? If you want to know today, this area right here would be like Israel and Palestine. Down here, this area will be Saudi Arabia today. Up here, this area is going to be like Iraq and Iran. Well, Iraq's like right here. This will be more like Iran. And then this is Turkey. So we're looking at that area of the Middle East today known as Southwest Asia. The Black Sea is located northwest of Mesopotamia. It's going to be a large body of water. It is between Europe and Asia, and it will cover around the area of Turkey today. The Caspian Sea is in the northeast part of Mesopotamia. It is actually the world's largest inland body of water. It's like the world's largest lake. Okay, that's the Caspian Sea up here. If we look down here to the Mediterranean Sea, some of you guys will be familiar with that from last year. That is that area, that body of water that Greece was located on, Italy was located on, and it dumps all the way into the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so that's the Mediterranean Sea. Really important for European civilizations to arise, and then when we start talking about like Egypt down in this area in the next couple of weeks, it's very important to help them with trade. Okay, so that Mediterranean Sea is going to be important. And then at the bottom, we have the Persian Gulf. This is going to connect with the Arabian Sea. It's an extension of the Arabian Sea. This is what really is going to feed into these two rivers that is going to be really important for Mesopotamia to even exist. All right. And then lastly, down here at the bottom, you have the Red Sea. Okay, the Red Sea is where we created the canal, the canal that connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, and it just dumps out into the Indian Ocean. Okay. All right, so those are the bodies of water, and you can go ahead and drag those around where they need to be. See the arrows, notice the arrows, make sure you're putting them in the water sources. Okay. Next, we have the rivers. Okay, so Mesopotamia itself actually means civilization between two rivers, right? Now we have those two rivers right here. This left river, right? This left river on that you see running up the coast here, right here. This is actually called the Euphrates River, okay? The Euphrates River. That's this river that goes up and down here. It's the longest and one of the most historically important rivers in all of Western Asia. Mesopotamia is going to be that first human civilization that actually sat down and started building up their cities. Um, it's going to be impossible for this civilization to arise and actually be as famous and popular as they were without the Euphrates and the Tigris, but I'll talk about the Tigris in a minute. Down here, you have the Nile River. Okay, so this is going to be really important for another river valley civilization that I know you guys know, the Egyptian civilization, right? So, river valley civilization, it does exactly what it implies. It's a civilization that's used through a river, through the usage of a river. So, you know, you have the Euphrates River because of Mesopotamia, and you have the Nile River, and that's where Egypt came from. And then the other river on the right side of Mesopotamia is the Tigris, right? So those are the two rivers, the Euphrates and the Tigris, the Euphrates River and the Tigris River, okay? The Tigris is the other great river that defined Mesopotamia. They both dump into the Persian Gulf. That's where it empties out into. All right, so after we get through the rivers, so look, there, if you just look at this map right here, look how much water is surrounding this location, right? This is prime location. This is prime area for a civilization to arise. They have trade, they have farming capabilities. It's perfect, right? And it, historically a very hot area of the world. Up at the top left of this map, okay, so northwest of where Mesopotamia begins, we have an area known as Asia Minor. It's also known as Anatolia. Asia Minor is pretty important for the birth of European civilization, right? This is where the Greeks come from, and this is where modern day Turkey comes from. It's very important for people like the Hittites, the Armenians, the Romans, the Minoans, the Byzantines, the Turks. Today, this is where Turkey is, the country of Turkey. Down on the bottom left, you do have your Egypt, right? Egypt makes sense. It's next to the Nile, right? And then we will start with our first city, which is this little dot here. Okay, so this city will be known as Babylon. Babylon is going to be a very important city for the Babylonian Empire, which we will talk about later. But it is the thing about Babylon and the city is it's very similar to ancient Greece. These individual little dots that you see here, these are city states. So they're their own entity. They're their own governments. They are separated from each other, right? Babylon is going to be one of those independent city states that created that Babylonian dynasty in 19th century BC. So a long time ago. We're looking at almost 4,000 years ago is where this was. Next, you have your city of Ur. Okay, so Ur. This is going to be really important for the Sumerian Empire. Okay, we will talk about Sumer or later. And then you have your city of Uruk. Okay, Uruk will also be a Sumer city, but then it will eventually become Babylonian. All right, those are your three cities. All right, next you have, this is where you're going to need to fill. So you need to get the fill tool. You need to click that first box right there, the box, and then you need to go to the top where there's the pail that's got the drip coming out of it. Color this area. This area is already colored on your map, but make sure you color that box purple. For this is the Sumer Empire, right? When we talk about this, hopefully when we come back to school after Labor Day, this will be a good resource so you know where that empire was located at. Okay, so Sumer Empire is located right here. It contained both Ur and Uruk, right? Next, you had your early Akkad Empire. This is going to be known as the Akkadians. All right, the Akkadians was the first ancient empire of Mesopotamia after the long-lived Sumerians. So after Sumer collapsed and Sumer disappeared, the Akkadians came in. They extended out to here. All right, so that's where you need the orange. Babylonians, okay, a little bit bigger. That yellow area right here, the Babylonian Empire was an ancient Akkadian speaking state and culturally area based in central southern Mesopotamia. Um, it was merely just used for like provincial town during the Akkadian Empire, but it expands a little bit more. And then just the last thing that we have for today is this whole area. This whole area that you see here is known as the Fertile Crescent. Okay. What that means, what Fertile Crescent means, is this was great farmland. This is also known as the cradle of civilization because it's the one location where settled farming first emerged. This is where people started actually settling down and trying to grow things like wheat and barley and crops like that. And this area was all great farmland. Okay, so it's called the Fertile Crescent, also known as the cradle of civilization, because this is where we started getting the technological advances in societies, like irrigation and actually learning how to properly make pathways for water and crops to grow. Writing, civilizations were able to actually write down in cuneiform their languages and actually have a set writing style. And the wheel, the pottery wheel, we start seeing that they're able to like actually create containers to hold things in. Um, and that is it. That's all we have for today. This is going to be really important because this is a great tool for that when we cover these areas later. I would have probably had you guys color and label this in class. This is just a new way to adopt that so that you can do it at home. I will be having Google Meets during normal class times. So my first one will start at 8:05 or 8:10, okay? And that'll be first period class. And then just your normal class time, 9:07 will be period 2, 9:59 will be period 3, 11:16 will be period 4. And then lastly, I will have about 1:30 will be period 6, okay? If you have any questions, you can either join the meet, ask me, or you can just email me. All right. Thank you guys. I make sure you get this done. This will be for a grade, so make sure you get it done, labeled, and turned in. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy your day.